Yo, greetings and salutations. We are right back at you. Brand new episode. The Doormen, Evangelist.
Steven in the building.
Well, let me start this episode by saying a big thank you to Brother Steven for this beautiful jersey, right?
My card almost didn't work because my card doesn't buy shit. But I had to since you claimed that you're a Charger fan. I give you some merch.
I am a newly dubbed
to rep
Charger fan. So he went the extra mile, got your boy this beautiful jersey.
Secondarily, I'm making my World Series winner prediction right now.
Right now.
What's the date today?
October 23rd.
October 23rd, 2022. That those boys from the Philadelphia Phillies are going to win the World Series.
Philadelphia.
They're gonna beat the Astros.
He's making the claim.
They're gonna come through and they're gonna beat that ass. And secondarily, good try, Padres. Now get back to being the little brother of the National League West and go fuck yourselves.
A lot of bitterness there.
Bro, 100% hate them. Can't stand them.
A lot of bitterness. Right?
Yep.
You don't just beat the Dodgers and get away with that.
You don't get to just walk away from that. No.
Well, we just we were beating our brains over what the hell to be because there's so much to talk about, right?
Yep.
I mean, you look through the news and it's headline after headline of just nonsense mixed with depression, mixed with
a little bit of I think of mental problems. I think the mental strength of the population is weak at best.
Yeah, and it can actually be proven by studies, right? Studies of I heard a Joe Rogan interview the other day of a couple of former military, and they were talking about the amount the statistics involving people who have tried out for the Navy SEALs and don't make it through the initial program over the years, and I guess now less and less applicants are finishing the what is it called, buds?
Yeah.
Buds.
But also too, you got to ask yourself why is there not as many people? Right? It's difficult. It's one of the hardest things to do.
Mm-hmm.
The success rate's minimal at best.
Right.
But it's that way because you want the best of the best of the best. You don't want somebody.
Absolutely.
You don't want somebody in there because they're a certain race or gender or
right.
whatever the flavor of the week is. You know, I got a good friend that was an Army Ranger, and he went to the Rangers because of the normal Army, I guess, prereqs were just getting so weak, and anybody could be, in the Army. And so he went to the Rangers, and then they started to bend a little bit. But if you're an Army Ranger and I'm an Army Ranger, and we look to our left and we need help, and there's somebody there who got it because they were accepted because they were
some type of a quota,
right? Because they were trans or whatever. I don't give a shit what you do. If you can drag me out of the dangerous situation, more power to you. If you can't, then I don't want you.
Then we're fucked.
Right.
So I mean, like the nature of the job, like let's just take the Navy SEALs for instance, right? We have zero experience in the military or anything like it, but you would imagine a special forces personnel is required to face hardships.
Yeah.
You're required to go into very dangerous situations, accomplish dangerous missions, and you're going to have that intestinal fortitude to complete something like that. So, these are very difficult tasks that you have to complete in order to, become a Navy SEAL. Right. So,
because the Navy SEALs aren't called to get cats out of trees.
No.
The Navy SEALs aren't called to help somebody with their vehicle that's disabled. You call a Navy SEAL, or you need a Navy SEAL for somebody to get dealt with.
Yeah.
Handled.
Right. And it's foolish to think that we could do away with a group like that.
Yeah.
the Navy SEALs,
And all because some
or,
people
or
aren't
the Green
included.
Berets,
Yeah.
or any special
The
forces.
Rangers.
Right. We'd be foolish in thinking that things like that aren't needed, right? Because I mean, look at there's a war going on as we speak, right? And if we were in a situation like either one of these sides of this war that's going on, we would need the personnel. We would need the people who are able to accomplish whatever mission is assigned to them. So. You know, it's funny is you hear about these you hear about people who speak on equality, and they want to be treated the same. They want and it all boils down to the equality of outcomes. They want to have equal treatment, equal this, equal that, right? And then when you confront them about a real life situation where, like, let's say a man and a woman and are out on a romantic evening.
A what and a what?
A man and a woman.
What is that?
Or a couple. Let's just say a couple.
A couple of.
Let's just say a couple. Are out on a romantic evening. They decide to take a walk. In a poorly lit park or whatever. Because you're always taking walks in parks. Sometimes with your.
Yeah, you're always going down dark alleys.
Yeah.
And seedy parks.
Right. But, let's say you're presented with a situation where, people are out there, homeless situation right now is crazy. So some homeless man confronts you. Who's going to be expected to take care of that situation, right? Is it going to be the woman who's more likely to prepare a great meal, more likely to raise, to raise children and nurture them successfully? I mean, not even wear a dress.
Be in the kitchen.
I'm just saying who has the skill sets to do that? Nurture a child and things like that. Or is that responsibility going to fall on the man?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, let me play devil's advocate as you always do.
Okay.
Equal rights, yeah, by all means. I would look at her and be like, well, your time to shine.
What do you I mean, listen, I mean, we all talk about these situations with the, with the best of hopes, I guess, with the best of, because we'd hope that, everyone gets treated the same. Until you bring up situations like this, until you bring up situations where danger is imminent, and someone has to step up to the plate, someone has to answer that call. So, what's the expectation at that point? Well, I'm going to tell you what the expectation is, right? The more masculine of the two, which is in a traditional partnership.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, nowadays
is that wrong?
No, it's exactly. But nowadays it's difficult.
Yeah, I mean it's difficult, for people to say, but we'll say it. Yeah. Traditionally, man and woman, right? I mean, I have a lot of gay friends. I mean, I have a few. I have a few gay friends, and love them. They're awesome, great people. But traditionally, man and woman. So, but the more masculine of that too is gonna be expected to jump to it, right? To save the day, to provide that protection, right? I mean, that's always been the traditionally the expectation. So, it's wild how we, you hear all of this talk nowadays, and a lot of that talk comes from people online. Who stay behind the computer, who never
in their mother's basements, all hopped up on Mountain Dew and Cheetos.
Oh shit!
Twitter tough guys, man.
Yeah, what's funny, man, is everybody has been bringing up the Andrew Tate guy, his name up, right? And then so I saw a conversation between him and two of these keyboard warriors, is what I'll call them. Well, one of the keyboard warriors, he kept just saying, "Hey, that's what I do, bitch," and he's just like some little kid, that could get snapped in two in person, right? Very, like,
again, with
no
the power,
skill set.
with the power of protection and bullying and harassment,
Mm-hmm.
and again, their parents' basement.
Right.
They sit in these dark rooms, just powered by Mountain Dew, Red Bull, and Little Caesars, and they think they can do whatever the fuck they want and say whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, we're not looking to kick up dirt and make people look bad or anything like that.
We're just pointing out the obvious.
Right. There's just things that have to be spoken of.
Do you remember when you were younger, like you never thought twice about talking back to somebody who was older than you?
No.
You never thought. You never thought even at school, like you're a 5th grader, you're not going to talk shit to an 8th grader.
Right. There was always.
You know what I mean? Just because back then, at the risk of sounding old, back when we were kids, the 8th grader could have put you in a fucking trash can.
Well, the age,
and you couldn't have cried about it.
The respect for age, right? The respect for someone older than you was a major factor in my household, right? Mm-hmm. So when people say respect your elders, anyone over 3 years older than me I considered them an elder. I considered them someone older.
Right.
So I mean, it was, I just naturally gave that respect.
But also too, it goes like the respect is given when it's gained, right?
Sure.
So if you act a certain way, talk a certain way to people, whether they're older than you, younger than you, whatever, in a traditional role of, let's just say, boss and employee, mm-hmm. right? If your boss talks down to you, no respect will be given in my point of view.
Sure.
You're gonna get the time that you pay for, and that's it. But in a situation with on the streets, right? Me and you walking down the street, very few people are gonna talk shit.
Right. But if a boss is disrespecting, but if a boss is disrespectful, they're gonna get some disrespect back.
Of course.
I mean, from my book. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just here to state a respect factor. Respect factors mm-hmm. were very clear, you know, in our days, and they're just not anymore, right? Respect for elders, respect for and I can see if people were willing to take it. I always wear this shirt. Violence violence solves everything, right? If people were willing to take it to that point, to take a debate, take an argument to the point where you're going to stand behind you're going to take your stance to the point where I'm going to fight for mine. Mm. Very, very few of these people who are so passionate about these opinions and points nowadays, very few would take it to that. Very few would stand behind their word to the point where they would come to blows with someone.
Right.
And I think, as primitive as those ideas are made to sound nowadays, that's where I think that's where it needs to go back to, right? Because it would solve a lot. It would cause a lot of this nonsensical.
But it also goes back to consequence, though, right?
Yeah.
Like your decisions, your next steps, your way of life is based on your decisions and the consequences that come with those decisions. So with you to be disrespectful, think that everything is owed to you, think that the world is your oyster and you don't have to work for shit, mm-hmm. that's your decision you made. Your consequence is you're going to be broke, you're not going to be doing anything, and you're going to maybe be homeless or living with mom and dad still.
I mean, so we're firm believers in that anything that you set your mind to can be achieved, right? But it's not. It won't, and it should not come to you without work, without hard work,
sure,
without difficult work,
right?
And then so this age where people appear entitled, we're just we're not going to say it straight behind the 45 to 50 minutes that we're putting these episodes together for, but we do try to do our part in providing a sound, some sound reasoning out there, calling out any of this nonsense that we hear, Right?
Yeah. Speaking of nonsense, Joe Biden. Dude is losing it every second that passes of every day.
Right.
He's getting worse and worse and worse.
He's getting worse, and then the people around him are failing in preparing him.
Like, what about the protection for the old man? I mean, give him something. You can't just leave him out there flopping around like a fish on the dock. I mean, it's a bad look. It's a bad look for him personally. It's also a
bad look for the country.
A bad look for exactly.
Terrible look for the country, man.
I mean, again, starting off with 2 words, made in America. Like, we couldn't get away with that shit on here without people
talking shit,
just ripping us apart.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Man. And he's just, it's worse and worse and worse and worse every day. It's like he did it again, and it's just like, I can't be shocked again. You watch the video, you're like, what the fuck?
I see people putting together these compilations of him right after the speech. What happens, right? He'll turn to a side, and then he'll salute no one.
Yeah.
And then he'll stick his hand out to shake no one's hand, and and it's like, you know what? A part of the game, in my mind, or from my perspective, a part of the game is to destroy America as a world leader, right? Because currently we're the world leader. Currently.
In shit. But we're still leading the world.
We're still leading the world, but it's fading. Our leadership is fading. And a part of me believes in my heart of hearts that he is a tool that is presented to kill the credibility of our country.
A tool in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
And every definition.
I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but these are our thoughts, and we value this thought process. But I believe that this guy has been put there. He's been placed. He's been placed there for that specific reason. And then in turn, what the goal eventually is to create this one world government.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen this coming for decades now, right? Back in the 80s, late 80s, George Bush Sr., he started to use this phrase, New World Order. People were afraid of it, and he was never elected president because of it. Was he?
Herman? George H.?
George H.?
Yeah, he was a president.
Yeah, but he wasn't never reelected.
No.
He wasn't reelected for president.
Yeah.
So they trashed that phrase, and then they came out with a more ear-friendly, more user-friendly phrase nowadays. It's called globalism, and they're pushing that globalism pretty hard. And a guy like Trump did his absolute best to reverse whatever gains they'd made in the public eye. Right, whatever gains they've made, he tried his hardest to reverse that by making us as energy independent as possible. He in these different agreements that we've had globally, he was forcing other countries to give us what we were owed, right? Because we provide security for countries for free, and he was calling countries out.
Yeah, pay your tab.
Pay it, right? You owe us. We pay this. We pay this percentage. You pay that percentage, and it's not fair. And he was calling them out, saying it's unfair to the American taxpayer. Blah blah blah. So a man like that, I was able to get behind. And those were the reasons that we came to his defense in our early episodes.
Yeah.
And then now we have this guy who is pandering to this globalist movement.
I mean, look at what's going on now. Like, we were talking about it before we started this. Like, every commercial you see, this is that time of year again, or time of the election shit, where the commercials come up, and it's just like 2 months ago, Rick Caruso was a legend in the city of Los Angeles. Now that every commercial I see, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
His opponents are getting.
It's
using
because
the tactics.
And you can always tell when people are gaining ground
right
behind behind the scenes that we never see. Because when the commercials get more and more personal.
Yeah.
You know, I saw an ad, I forgot who it was. Somebody was running maybe against Newsom. I forgot who it was, what his name was. But he was in a debate with Newsom, and he said, if you can't trust Gavin with his best friend's wife, how can you trust him in California? And you're just like, wow, dude.
Whoa.
Wow. And it's just like, at that point, what's Newsom's response going to be? But, oh, he's going to slander and talk about rumors. But, I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And Gavin Newsom is
yeah, not our favorite.
good guy.
Definitely not our favorite guy.
For me to poop on.
But I don't know. Any hopes for California being resembling anything decent is kind of shot.
We're so far. I mean, it's just so deep in a hole of bullshit that California will never get out. California used to be where everybody wanted to be.
Yeah.
I saw a commercial on it was one of the baseball games. It was like Visit Montana. Like, visitmontana.com. You don't see those commercials in other states. You don't see visitcalifornia.com.
You might, but they won't.
Oh, no, they're painting the wrong picture.
Probably like late at night, and then after that commercial, you'll see like a phone sex operator commercial.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's also like, I mean, if we're being honest, nobody wants to be in California.
I mean, look.
It used to be good, and now there's homeless people everywhere.
Right.
Crime is rampant.
Right.
There's everything is expensive, and Newsom's an asshole.
But what great thing do we have here is beautiful weather. Year round, beautiful weather. We get 2 seasons. We get hot
and
and then
warm
we get a little bit of
and
a
warm
little sprinkle.
and warm.
We get a sprinkle and warm.
Yeah, when it's cold in California, you can tell people who have always in their whole life been in California.
Yeah.
It's like 68 degrees and they're walking around in a fucking winter suit.
Right.
Like, come on. Yeah. Bro, it's going to be 68 tomorrow.
Huh.
Woo.
I mean, and then you have guys like myself who are in flip-flops and shorts year round.
Yeah. And then people like me that live in Kansas and Colorado, when you don't talk about cold, that breeze would come and go up your pant leg and you're pretty sure your nuts fell off because it's so cold. But, yeah. Anyway, California sucks.
Yeah, but great weather. I mean, and that's why everyone visits. Great weather, women, and weed.
Oh. Well.
I guess I said it, but
That's not wrong.
So back to this leadership, right? So we have terrible leadership. Why is it important? Why is it important that we find a good leader to back? Well, without leadership, it's often difficult to find direction for just a common person, just your everyday person. I always look for like little microcosms in my life to compare, right? And one microcosm I found is I go to these exercise classes, right? I go to exercise classes. Specifically, I've been going to this Grit Cycle. It's an indoor cycling deal, and whenever it is you have a great instructor whose directives are clear,
concise.
When they're articulate, when you can understand what it is they're saying, understand all of their directions from the tempo of your pedal to the exact side you're supposed to be going toward, or when the directions are precise, it is much easier for your class to meet any goal, whether it be your specific fitness goal or a class goal to complete each task presented, right? Whenever directions aren't given, or whenever the instructor is not as articulate or not as well spoken or not as clear in their direction, the task is much more difficult to meet your own goal of fitness level progression, or even for the class to complete what's presented.
Well, yeah, it's
right?
also difficult to even get to the end, right? Because
Right.
you're not motivated.
You're not right. You
you're
get
not
frustrated
like,
at
you're
times
just like,
if it's
fuck, shut up,
right. So it's that any leadership, any person who puts themselves in a leadership role it's an absolutely key position, right?
Right.
So we have to look to find the best leadership, and the way our current president was found, the way our current president was accepted, on the back of the hate of the disgust of another man.
Yeah.
I think it was a poor approach in picking this leader. Right. Because we know that this guy merited no, all of the claims of him having the most votes in the history of any presidential election, unmerited, right? He has proven to do nothing prior to him.
Well, that's a lie they try to feed you to make you think that it was valid.
Right.
Because the idea and the goal for this current administration is to have you believe that this fucking puppet has our best interest in mind.
Right.
And he doesn't. He doesn't even know what the fuck he's doing.
Man.
It's sad. Everybody's like, I feel bad for him, but his family's there. His wife is there. Nobody's there with a shield around this guy.
No.
This dude is not in a bubble. He's walking around like he's 60 years old, but he acts like he's 140. There's no, precise statements. There's nothing that's solid that he says. It's all, he can't read a teleprompter. He can't have a mic in his ear because he thinks he's hearing voices, and you can see him looking around and like that. Can't read the thing in front of him. He's got a note card that says, "Do not talk about this," and he talks about it.
But let's look at the people around him. Look at the current press secretary and the press secretary before her. The things that they have to say in order to save face for him, it's
but also
impossible.
too,
Unbelievable.
those people are prime examples of people who are put in positions because of the gender, race, whatever.
Yeah.
They're there because they fill a quota. This current press secretary is almost as bad as him. She cannot form a sentence. I think I counted.
She doesn't have much to work with.
I think I counted in a 30-second clip. She said 17 times.
She doesn't have anything to work with. Like there's no truth to as a basis for anything she's saying.
Right.
So she's got to invent these things, right? So
well, you can
the
tell
fact that she's using is not a surprise.
Well, you can tell that she thinks that the room is pro Democrat, but then there's good old Peter Ducey sitting right in the front row, asking her flat out.
The room is just pro views. They want to be watched. So what's the best way to get watched than to stir up some shit?
But so Peter Ducey asked her, so if somebody can't get on a plane because they're not vaccinated, an American citizen can't get on a plane because they're not vaccinated, yet you have people walking over from other countries who are not vaccinated can just come into the country. Does that seem right? And she goes, they're not just walking here. He said, that's exactly what they're doing. Like, look at the border. They're literally walking into the country.
Yep.
And she just goes, well, I don't know where you're. It's like, bitch, watch the fucking TV. Watch any channel.
Oh, shit.
Any channel shows them. And this gigantic amount of people that showed up dead at a border. Where's that news? Where is that outrage? Because you know goddamn well, if Mr. Trump was in office still and one person got stung by a bee at the border, it'd be fucking brutal. They'd have lit his ass up.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of double standard,
There's double standards all the time, but in this current situation, it's just like anything they can do, right? Anything that doesn't go right in your life, you can blame Donald Trump for.
Sure.
Your car doesn't start in the morning.
Man, they are attacking
Fucking
my man
Trump.
on every front. On every front. January 6th.
Why is that?
His taxes. They want to prevent him from being able to run for president.
Well, also, what's right around the corner? Brother Squeak.
Oh, yeah. Midterms are here, right?
November 8th.
Yeah, midterms are here. We're in it. We're in the cake right now. So
that's again too. If you're a TV watcher or ads on Instagram or whatever you're watching, every other friggin' commercial is politically motivated, and you don't see a single one that it's not Democrat, Republican. It's all pro-Democrat.
Sure.
There's one commercial I saw, and it was on Fox Sports 1 during the Dodgers Padres series, and it was a Republican commercial.
You know, as far as politics are concerned, right? They always point to the idea that Republicans try to play nice, Mr. Nice Guy, right? And it's only when it's only in their ties with corporate America do they become the evil politicians.
Right.
You know, it's only their ties with the ownership of different corporations or the lobbyists that are, you know, that have been able to penetrate their lawmaking. That's when you see the fangs and claws in the Republican Party. But as far as politics are concerned, you don't the mudslinging that has not really been a part of their repertoire, right? With Trump, on the other hand, right? With Trump, with the introduction of his campaign and everything that he's been involved in and his tactics and strategies, he has held nothing back, which has kind of leveled the playing field.
Which also could be a detriment to
absolutely.
What happened.
Yeah.
Because that dude can't keep his mouth shut. He's like me. He don't know when to shut the fuck up.
I mean, if you were to just get him off of Twitter, you know, during his presidency, that would have helped him.
That's also the thing too. I don't think any political representative should have social media while they're in office. None of them.
But that would have helped him leaps and bounds if he would have just someone to just control his Twitter output.
It's also too, like, you know, like they want to talk about January 6th, right? It was almost a year ago. January 6th, they're still talking about how he riled everybody up. How he did this, how he did that, how nobody did anything, no Democrat did anything wrong, how they were scared.
That was 2021. January 6th, 2021, no?
No, since the whole thing came up, the investigation, I mean, not since it happened.
Oh.
But they want to talk about how they were scared in their offices and they were terrified. Nancy Pelosi had a film crew with her.
Right.
The day it happened. Was that coincidence? I don't think so. Maybe. Let's play devil's advocate. Maybe it's a coincidence. Is it a coincidence that it was her daughter's film study documentary group? Absolutely not.
Did they intend for things to happen? I believe so.
100% they did.
Did they intend to be able to paint Donald Trump in the light that they've currently portrayed him in, or they're currently portraying him in? I believe absolutely.
Of course they do it. I mean, there's videos of people opening up back doors, opening windows.
There's videos of police officers hiding from protesters in order for them to gain access to these off-limit areas.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, Capitol Police, not just like regular street police. These were police officers intended to police that building. We're opening up doors, moving barriers, opening windows,
or just not being there, right?
Yeah.
Not being in their designated post, and then they're found elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then these people who found them are pleading with them to come back, right? Hey, prevent. And these were the protesters who were pleading with the police. Come back, man your post, prevent these people from going over. These were Trump-loving protesters who were pleading with these officers and to no avail. So, I mean, people can point to whatever the hell they want, right? A lot of things happened that day.
Well, it is interpretive. I mean, everything's interpretive based on your emotion and your feeling. Right. You know, so.
I mean, I've talked to many people who land on one side of this argument or the other, and each of them have their feet planted in that argument. It's not even a, you know, you're not going to move either anyone. You're not going to move me either. I mean, I have my beliefs as to what was going on that day, right? I'm not going to bore you with it, but it was a smoke and mirror show from the go. So I mean,
everything is smoke and mirrors in politics.
I just believe that,
and that's why they don't like Trump, because he wasn't no smoke and mirrors.
Right. People come to these arguments. People come to these debates already planted, already stuck in their views about what's happening. I have a belief as to, as far as like my initial statement about this globalization. That's for me. That's the outcome. That's the big picture, and everything kind of lines up with that. So you're either pro globalization or you're not pro globalization. I personally, I believe in an America first thing. I believe in as small. We need to govern ourselves in as small a space as possible, right? So I don't believe that federal government is our first line of defense. I believe it has its place, but local governance is where you wanna live, right? Because no one's gonna tell me how to do things correctly in my own home. I'm gonna know what my home needs, right? And then from my own home, every layer outside of that, there's more and more to be assessed. There's more and more to more and more people that need to be involved in the assessment and the adjustments that need to be made, right? But I'm not going to look to, listen to any president about what I should be doing in my own home, right? Because there's a process that I take. There's a process that Stephen has to assess their own situation in their own home with our own lives, and then as I said before, each layer you decide to peel or deal with or make adjustments for. There's more and more added onto whatever process it is you take, but it's your fucking process.
Right.
It's not for him. It's not. I don't have anything to do with it until I have something to do with it. For him, and vice versa, right? And then plug into your groups, plug into your family, plug into your God. These are the things that you need to be taken into consideration, not Nancy Pelosi and her fucking nonsense and telling you, oh, come, when all of this COVID talk first hit the airwaves, what was she doing? She was in the middle of Chinatown telling us what a great day it was out there to be in Chinatown.
We're all stuck at home running out of food, and this bitch is on the news showing us with a fancy ice cream in her $10,000 freezer. Like that's right there should be enough to be like, God, fucking people, man. Just ramming it right down your throat. They have and you don't.
Right. So guys, I mean, we are believers in minimal government. You should be governing yourself, right? There's definitely things that you need to do in order to govern yourself better, and take those steps. Like as we said, plug into your people, plug into your families, plug into your God, your local communities. Man, you got to make decisions based on that.
You gonna talk about AOC real quick? And where this dipshit was doing?
You saw that little dance,
bro.
They're protesting and they're like, they got this rhythmic chant protesting against her. She's dancing. Yeah, like come on.
That's just the ultimate. I don't give a fuck. Keep up your protest. I'm not going anywhere.
Childishness instead of
bartender turned politician.
Absolutely.
Acting like a bartender.
Right. Not that we're saying bartenders could never handle the position of politician, but when you start acting like that, you're just showing yourself back.
Right. You're again telling the room, I'm dancing to your bullshit. I don't give a fuck about you.
Instead of going, so you know who I loved? Kayleigh McEnany, right? Former press secretary. She came she came to a hostile room full of intellectual reporters, right? Well, as intellectual as journalism gets.
TMZ.
Prepared. She came prepared with points, with facts, right? Now, if AOC took that approach, oh, how much more respectable she would be.
Mm-hmm.
But she chooses to.
Well, first, when they first
Earth.
started booing her and going yelling, she's like, "Hey, take it easy, take it easy." I'd have rushed the stage and headbutted the bitch.
Right.
Because, like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Like, you're gonna talk
Look,
like
violence,
that.
I said violence solves everything, but
That would have solved that. There would have been no dance. It's just the pandering, and again, nobody recognizes she ran unopposed. In a district that had no representation for 3 years. Because who the fuck wants District 13 in Brooklyn? People in Brooklyn don't want to be in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So you have this person who previously was a bartender. Okay, great. Won't hold that against her.
No.
When you act like an asshole and you act like you're just serving drinks behind the bar in a town hall meeting when they're trying to voice their issues with you and you're dancing like a little selfish little bitch.
I mean, look, listen, come with your facts, right? Be prepared for whatever point your protesters will be
She had
raising,
nothing because
right?
she hasn't been in the district in 2 years.
Dude, so I absolutely admire people like Kayleigh McEnany, Ben Shapiro, who will be there to just argue point for point. Anyone raising any questions about their beliefs and their movements, they're prepared with an answer.
What's her name? Carrie Lake?
Carrie Lake as well.
She
awesome, man.
She shut down reporters when they said, "Hey, why are you a election denier?" And she stopped literally in her tracks walking by and said, "What did you just say?" Guy said it again. She goes, "Let me ask you a question." She asked her helper for papers. She goes, "Is Hillary Clinton an election denier?" Because she did the same thing.
Right.
Is Joe Biden an election denier? Is AOC? Is all these people that have done the same thing that you're accusing me of, are they election deniers too? And that person's response was, "Well, no." So why are you singling me out? Right. Because I don't agree with what the flavor of the week is?
Right. It's wild.
There's a turn coming, bro. I can feel it. There's a turn, and the pendulum swings. I told you. And it's always finds its way back to the middle.
Problem is what these guys were able to do against a Trump, right? A sitting president. These guys turned on the machine. I've said it episode after episode.
Yeah.
They were able to turn on this machine, which included mainstream media. Once they turned that machine on, it wasn't hard for them to cast enough smoke and mirrors for them to do what it is they did. And I'm not saying, they cheated on this map. I'm just saying.
Oh, say it. They cheated.
I'm just saying that there were a lot of questionable happenings.
Right.
During that election.
So you don't think that they played their card? They did. I think they did it all at once. You say they turned on the machine. They played their hand way too early. In some cases, too late. If they wanted to have to minimally get Trump out,
we have to point at the result. Trump is out.
He was going to be out anyway.
Right. Trump is out, and we've got Biden in, and they're doing everything that they wanted to do.
Right. Well, that's my whole point.
Set out to do.
When I say they overplayed their hand, I think there's no way, even people who are anti whatever side of the law we're on, there's no way people can continue to survive in this current direction we're going. It's a fucking madhouse in the United States.
You know what they're playing on, and it's the continuation of this madness, right? But they're playing on everyone's emotions.
That's my whole point. Like at some point, even the most dedicated Democrat is going to be like, I fucking hate that I have to pay $7 a gallon for gas. I hate that I can't go to the store with my family after 4 o'clock in the afternoon because it might get crazy.
Do you think they hate it more than they? Do you think they hate it more than they hate seeing a President Trump in office?
I think that they do, but also it's the same thing that when I've said before, people will vote out of their party before they vote for a woman.
Do you think they hate it more than they love the satisfaction of looking at an opponent or at someone with an opposing view?
I do think
disappointment. Do you think they hate it more than they love that?
I do think that it's just like I just said. Democrats, Republicans will vote out of party before they vote for a woman. It doesn't matter who the woman is. They will vote out of party. That's why Hillary didn't win. Nobody thought Trump was going to beat Hillary. Nobody did. And the fact that, not taking anything away from women, I'm sure there'll be a woman president at some point. After this circus is over, God knows what's next. But
I wouldn't mind seeing Carrie Lake.
Yeah.
For president one day.
But here's the thing.
I wouldn't mind seeing Tulsi Gabbard.
Everybody thought they're gonna try to disintegrate her by saying that she changed her affiliation. Even though her point was valid. Yeah. But that's why Hillary lost. People thought, oh, they're gonna get every woman vote, whether it's Republican or Democrat. They're gonna get every minority vote because she's a woman, and she lost. Election denier Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump. Nobody thought it was going to happen.
It didn't help all the evidence they brought out about her and the DNC shitting on Bernie Sanders. Right?
Right, but I mean, her background was enough to be like, look what she did in Benghazi. Look what she did when she was this. Look what she did when she was that. Where'd those 33,000 emails go? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
They're like, nope, And it might be childish. People that I talk to, like, why won't you vote for Hillary? Well, women are fucking crazy.
And she is the cream of the crop as far as
top level nut job.
Yeah, top level shit show.
So,
waiting to happen.
I mean, there's that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't want to be total doom and gloomers, but yeah, it's just a lot of nonsense. A lot of nonsense going on.
It's hard to not talk about the shit.
It's hard not to point it out.
It's so easy. It's just there, like the low hanging fruit.
You know what good news can we bring to the forefront today? In spite of all we've unleashed so far.
Manny Machado and the Padres are out of the playoffs.
Oh, shit.
Fucking hate that guy, dude.
Okay.
And what else is
it
there?
sounds like more hate and...
Ooh, Tom Brady lost today. That's good.
Okay. It sounds like more hate and...
No, fuck Tom Brady. I told you that last one. I'm glad he's human. That's all.
He's absolutely human, man. And you know what?
I'm glad.
In his defense, many competitors, whether it be football players, basketball players, boxers, fighters, sometimes you just don't know when to retire. And he would have gone out on top, and with his reputation intact, with his legacy intact. But no, he's one of those guys who just couldn't leave the game.
Well, now he's going to go down as he retired because his divorce was in his head and he couldn't play football.
Okay.
Bro, they lost to the fucking Panthers today.
Yeah.
The Panthers with
no
Robbie Williams or whoever their receiver was.
Yeah.
After
having traded
McCaffrey and a backup quarterback, beat him by 17.
My God, what?
Yeah, it wasn't a squeaker. It was
you know what? Let me find that.
I think it was 21-3, something like that.
You're shit.
No, there was a fucking shellacking. And now, Tom Brady's gonna be like, it's not the divorce, bro. I would walk off the face of the planet for somebody like Giselle.
Why?
That's a bad bitch, and she's loaded. And Tom Brady's won enough rings, dude. Go the fuck away. Let somebody else win. What was the final score?
Oh my God, 21-3.
Oh,
bro.
Damn.
What happened?
Oh, it's the divorce. Watch.
My God.
Watch him be like, maybe it is time to retire. Dickhead.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's one of those guys, man. Super uber competitor. I mean, more Super Bowl rings than anyone in the history of the game. Can you say? 2 different teams. Go.
Cheated.
Go.
Deflategate. Deflategate.
Go.
Spygate.
Rings are rings. Our rings are rings. And that's what.
I mean,
That's how I'll defend.
it's like the Astros. They cheated to win.
Sure.
Fuck them too.
But a ring,
It's got aggressive at the end.
very aggressive.
Anyway, glad you enjoyed your jersey.
Thank you, sir. You are absolutely.
And I think they lost today too. But
You know what? I'll look that one up too.
well, yeah, let's check the score. Hold.
Hold for
Just so you guys know, he's checking his fantasy
fantasy. Oh
For-
my God, 37-23. My Chargers lost. Man.
to who? Geno Smith and
Geno
those
Smith
Seahawks.
and the Seahawks.
Man, Geno Smith. Who's Russell Wilson?
I mean,
Let's talk about Russell Wilson real quick. That guy might be the most cringeworthy player in the history of the NFL.
Elaborate, my friend.
His whole "Hey Broncos country, let's ride" shit is terrible. His commercials are bad, and his like Instagram things that he does, and he's trying to be like a gangster in Denver, bro. Like, you went from Seattle as like dipshit quarterback, goofy guy, and we're supposed to believe that you went to Denver and now you're like some sort of like hard ass. I don't understand.
Yeah.
You're Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
and you suck this year. I feel bad for the Bronco fans because they,
Yeah,
had
whatever
they got a
legacy
good
he
team
had.
on paper.
Whatever legacy he had, it's gone to shit.
They got a good team on paper, but man, Russell Wilson's like for the century in the red zone. But he's hurt, so they might win on Monday. Or no?
Isn't that sad?
Did
No, they played today, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, they played today.
Well, he didn't play, so they might have won. You never know. On that note,
On that note, we
I
will
think
leave you.
we're
I
going to
think
get some Musubis.
we're going to go get Ono. Here we come.
And peace out.